What's up, guys? Saucy here. I just wanted to give you guys a quick deck profile. If you guys don't know, I recently placed third at the Montreal Offline Regionals using Doflamingo. I was actually the only blue player to make it to top 16 in Montreal, and we made it all the way to our top 4 game, and unfortunately we lost top 4 against Zoro to the person that ended up winning the whole thing, which is congrats to him. He played it right. Unfortunately, we played it right. We just didn't quite get the hand. Kind of break the first game. Second game, it was rough. He still got it at the end of the day, but regardless, just wanted to give you guys a quick profile because I think this deck right now, the way it is, it's a great deck to play in the current environment. It has an amazing matchup against Whitebeard. It has an amazing matchup against Smoker. A great matchup against red decks. The only tough matchup will have to be like green decks. The main kid, it's just a natural enemy to Doflamingo, and it requires too much investment for us to counteract that weakness for something that's not really that common right now. So I just opted to take that chance and run the deck as optimally as possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. All right, so first card, obviously, you have your leader card. We have our 1 cost here. We have the Dofi 1-drop. Its on-play ability is check top 3 cards of your deck and rearrange it or bottom deck it. On attack, you could trash a card to bottom deck a 1 cost or less, and that costs you it's a $1 investment on attack. This card is great. Honestly, it's a perfect card to run against decks that run a lot of 1-drops, aka red, or even Kinemon, or even Law. Like, this card is our only the only way we can interact with Law without having to attack, aside from just attacking a rested character, right? And also, it's another outlet for the deck to rearrange your hand or the top cards of the deck. The downside of this card, though, it doesn't have counter power, which does come up. It came up for me a couple times during the tournament, which kind of sucked, but I think 2 is a great number. I wouldn't run any more than 2, and it has its place in the deck. I may change it in the future, but right now, that is what I ran in the tournament, and it worked great for me. Next up, we have 3 Laws. Everybody should already know what that does. It's kind of a standard. Some people will argue that the 1-drop Law isn't really that good for the format. I disagree. I mean, I understand their sentiment about it being like bad against many cards that are able to deal with like weenie blockers nowadays, but the thing is, I would rather them use those cards and kill my 1-drop Law than use those cards along with like an Automa to kill like a 4-cost card, right? So it doesn't, just because a card is able to, there's a lot of cards that are able to deal with this, does not mean we should cut it all together, because if at the very worst, this card will draw out any of those cards that will deal with your more important threats later on in the game. So I like it, and it's reusable with Moria, and late game, it's a valuable tool against decks like like Kinemon that swing really high, or like Whitebeard. For Perona, it goes without saying, everybody should already know what she does. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. We have here our 2K counters. I'm running 4 Alvida, 3 Mr. 2s, and then I'm running also, of course, you're running the 4 Mihawks. I chose to run an additional set of 2Ks, 3 additional 2K counters, because I'm not running any events in this build. If you guys watch my previous deck profile, you'll notice that it's pretty much a trend for me. I'm not really a fan of running events in Doflamingo, and the reason for that is because events in Doflamingo, it really is it's hard to have the Dawn open to use those events like Love Love Beam until the very end of the game, because you have to commit 3 Dawn every turn on Doflamingo to do your swings, and that really does take up a lot of that extra Dawn that you would have. And if you keep 2 Dawn open, you could be missing like another potential 4-drop on top of the the Dofi swing, or playing like any of your cheapy blockers, or buffing up your guys. So like Dawn, having the ability to use all your Dawn and still being able to counteract swings on your opponent's turn with in the form of 2K counters, I think is really valuable tool. So I chose to run more 2Ks instead of the events. So that's that. You got 4 of the 3 cost Dofi blocker, rearranger. Great card. Would never cut it down any less than that. I'm running 4 boas. I like boas. I know some people will argue as well, like boa is not as good in this format, and I would probably be inclined to believe them on that. But I think she's still a great card. She does replenish your hand. She does bait out those jet pistols. But also she's a blocker. So having as many blockers in the deck as we do, it gives us a really great matchup to Whitebeard, and and having her on board forces Whitebeard to divert the attacks from face and deal with her directly. So you're kind of mitigating some of that early damage just by playing her arrested on your board. So, and then if you're able to keep her alive, like she replaces whatever counter essentially that you use to keep her alive. So she's definitely a 4 of, in my opinion. Next up, we have 4 Jinbeis. Probably one of the best cards to get off the top of the deck, and attributes to the reason why he's so expensive. I know most of you guys may not be as lucky as me to be able to get 4 of these, but if you're not able to get 4 of these, I would recommend trying like 3 teaches, like cutting, like 3 of these for 3 teaches, and then maybe 1 for like an extra 2K counter, or any other warlord of your choice that you have room for. But if you're ever able to get these cards, definitely run it in your deck. It's an amazing card. Getting it off the top of your deck, it's just a free +1 body on your board, and it forces your opponent to do one of 2 things, which is not beneficial for them either way. The first thing they can do is like swing into it and kill it, and then lose a body on their board, like a 3 or less, or they could choose to ignore it altogether, and it gives you an extra swing every turn, which is really like amazing. It came up so many times in the tournament where my opponent will literally like, they'll swing into the Jinbei with just like 5K, thinking I'll let it die so I can kill one of their guys, and I will literally counter out of that. The only time I'll actually let it die is if they swing like 6 or 7K, which requires me to discard more than 1 card from my hand, then I'll actually let it die and like bottom deck something. But this card is more valuable to me as an extra attacker than just another form of removal. So it's a great card, highly recommend. Next up, we have 4 of the Vanilla Morias from OPO2. This card is really put in work for me in the tournament. Getting it off the top on your 3 Dawn turn is like the strongest play that you can have with this deck. It's a 6K that you can get out, you can pump out for the cost of 1, which is amazing. And on your opponent's 2nd turn, on their 4 Dawn turn, the only way they can deal with this is commit pretty much all 4 of their Dawn to their leader to swing into this for 9K. And in which case you could still counter out with 2K. So it's near impossible for them to deal with this on the 4 Dawn turn. And it's a huge body, being at 6K. It's right in line with Whitebeard's power level, so that means that this is it's a threat to Whitebeard because it doesn't require any Dawn investment to swing into them. And yeah, it's a great all-around good card. And then next up we have 4 of the regular Moria. Goes without saying, it's a Dofi standard. You know, everybody should already be running 4 of those, so nothing new there. Now the next one we have here is Kuma. I'm running 4 of those. I've seen a lot of Doflamingo decks moving to the Kuma now. They're running like the Kuma package without the Pacifistas. And you know, you take whatever you want. You know, obviously there's nothing wrong with not running the Pacifistas. However, I don't completely subscribe to that personally. Which brings us actually to the next card here. We run 3 Pacifistas. This card put in so much work for me in the tournament. It's amazing. Like, you're already running 4 of the Kumas. There should be no reason for you not to run this card, aside from, like, you know, just simply having little to no deck space, flex spots available. I think I would still argue that this card deserves a spot in the deck. It's an amazing card. If you're in a position where you got the Kuma off the top, and they're able to like kill it with a swing or using like Otama or Vista, and they kill it, which is what red typically will do to beat Dofi, is to control your board. You're able to play your Pacifista and still retain your board presence, and then, you know, swing back at them on the crackback, which is amazing. Plus, Pacifista is also a 6K body, which again goes really well against Whitebeard. Man, I just messed that up. Goes great against Whitebeard, and it's just it's a great card. If you guys haven't, if you're not running the Kuma engine in this format, definitely try it out and see for yourself. This card literally won me like a lot of the games I attributed towards just being able to play the Pacifista and being able to retain that pressure on my opponent early game. And then finally, our last cards here is the 3 9-drop Mihawk. Goes without saying, probably the best blue card or the strongest blue card that we can run. It deals with 7 or less, and it's our top end of choice for this deck. It's a great card. The only thing I would change is maybe run 1 more of the Mihawk, but I'm trying to optimize the deck in a way where I have as little bricks as possible, and adding an additional one, you know, it's just another risk of like just them clumping in my hand, especially with so many like Luffy and Zoro decks going around. Like during my top 16 games, a lot of times with all the Zoros that was in top 16, this card was just completely useless. Like I would set up for it off the top. Like I'll have like, you know, my 5 cards, and I'll have like a play for my 5 Dawn, my 7 Dawn, and my 9 Dawn turn. I would have this as the last card off the top so that I'll draw into it. And a lot of times when I drew into it on my 9 Dawn turn, I'm like, I'm not in a position where I could safely play this. So it actually is just like, it became a liability a lot of times. So that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments any suggestions you might have. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys on the next one.